Working in development for ages now has meant that I've probably picked up some really bad habits. And the worst part about this is that I don't even know what those bad habits are. In today's video, I wanted to talk about having bad habits and getting old as a web developer, because this is something that we're all going to have to face one way or another, even as a designer. I've come from the industry where I learned myself to personally start using React, and I learned all the fundamentals quite a while ago. I thought that I was at the top of my game, that I was working on the bleeding edge, but just a year down the track or whatnot, and I turn around and apparently I'm using class components, and they're old school. Everyone's using functionless components now with hooks, and they're no longer using state. There's so many things that I seem to be behind on, and I didn't even know about it until someone pointed it out in my comments. So I'm going to have to go back and redo my React courses. I'm going to have to start at the fundamentals and make sure that I'm learning and doing everything properly. It made me think that maybe when I'm doing my development in general, I might be a little bit behind. I've learned my CSS and HTML. But that's changed too. There's things like grids now. There's also making sure that you're using the right tags like articles and nav bars that weren't around back when I started. Even in the design, when I started, I was just using Adobe Photoshop, and that was good enough. And now recently I turn around and there's things like Adobe XD, there's Figma and Sketch, and everyone's just designing everything on a collaborative session with prototyping and animation, and I haven't even looked at these things before. It wasn't until recently when I was forced to have a look at it that I realized just how much of an improvement those features essentially are. And my old way of using Photoshop is really no longer practical because it ends up taking more time to achieve the same level of work or less. So in that same light, I might take a look now at redoing my fundamentals for HTML and CSS. I'm going to take a look at Free Code Camp. It's something that I've seen a couple of other developers and designers start working on just to make sure that they're building up their basics. And it's a really good resource. So I'm going to get started on that, and I might turn this into a video series too. So if you guys want to follow along, you can. Anyway, if you don't know who I am, I'm Adrian from Australia. I do videos around design and development. So if you do like this kind of content and you want to see more like it, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.